You're not broke. You're just really good at pretending to be someone you're not. Let's be real. You don't have a money problem. You have a bullshit lifestyle problem. You're drowning in subscriptions you don't use, a car loan you can't afford, and a house full of stuff that's about as meaningful as a Hallmark card in a hurricane. But sure, keep telling yourself you deserve it. Every morning, you sell your time to the highest bidder. And for what? To finance the dopamine rush of an Amazon checkout? To look successful to people who wouldn't attend your funeral? The truth? You've been hijacked by the cult of consumerism, and your wallet is the hostage. You don't own your life. You lease it. And when someone dares to challenge that, you call them radical. Well, buckle up, because this book, it's not here to massage your ego. It's here to burn the fake life to the ground. This video is based on the personal finance cult classic Your Money or Your Life by Vicki and the late Joe Dominguez, with a foreword from Mr. Money Mustache, aka Peter Adini, the frugal messiah of early retirement. Disclaimer: this video falls under the Fair Use Act. It's educational and is probably going to piss off your financial advisor. We're not here to copy the book. We're here to obliterate your excuses and breathe new meaning into its message. Who are these people anyway? Joe Dominguez wasn't your average Wall Street guy. He retired at 31, not to sip martinis, but to escape the system. He saw through the shiny veneer of success and asked the question you're too afraid to. Is my job eating my soul? Vicki, she's not some ivory tower finance guru spouting empty platitudes. She's a social innovator who spent decades preaching sustainability, community, and sanity in a world hell-bent on losing all three. Together, they built a 9-step program, not just for financial independence, but for reclaiming your freaking life. Because spoiler alert, this isn't just about money. It's about waking up. This book has been read, reread, and weaponized by millions of people who decided enough was enough. If you're drowning in debt, burnt out from work, or just sick of the hamster wheel, you're in the right place. So what are we going to do? We're going to dismantle the lie that you need to sell your life for a paycheck. Welcome to Mindful Reads Hub. Let's get started. The money lie you've been living. Have you ever been scammed? Like, not some petty phishing email about a Nigerian prince offering you riches, but the kind of scam so elaborate, so culturally sanctioned, you actually defend it. That's modern life. You weren't taught to live. You were trained to consume. You're a trained asset in a rigged economy, and the paycheck is the leash. You think this is just about money? Wrong. This is about the fundamental operating system of your brain, rewired since childhood to believe that chasing stuff equals happiness, that employment equals value, that retirement is a reward, not a bribe to tolerate 40 years of soul erosion. Let me spell it out for you. You don't hate your job because you're ungrateful. You hate your job because it's stealing your fucking life. The system told you to spend your youth chasing credentials. Then it handed you a mortgage, 2 car payments, and the slow psychological death of 5-day work weeks praying for weekends that go by in a blink. But you stay in line, grinning through it all, posting vacation selfies, and pretending that burning out is a badge of honor. We call this success. You want to know why the authors started this book with a metaphor involving a gun to your ribs? Because they understood something. People will give up everything. Health, time, passion, relationships, just to avoid giving up their stuff. And what is stuff? Compensation for a life unlived. Rachel Z had the career, the status, the shiny house, and still felt empty. Don M checked all the grown-up boxes and still felt like a fraud. Elaine H was a corporate zombie, racking up prestige while secretly resenting every keystroke. These aren't failures. These are prototypes of the American dream. You were told to chase a mirage, and when you finally reached it, you realized it was a plastic cactus. This isn't just individual malaise, this is a systemic emotional bankruptcy. You were handed a money map that leads to burnout, not bliss. And when you finally ask, is this it? They'll tell you to work harder, buy more, numb out. But here's where the book punches a hole in the wall. It doesn't ask you to fix the system, it dares you to exit it. Step 1. Make peace with the past, not with nostalgia, not with therapy, but with cold, hard math. It starts with the most uncomfortable question imaginable. How much have you actually earned in your lifetime? Not how much you've saved, not how much you've spent. How much has flowed through your life like a river you never learned to dam? Most people shrug it off. I don't know, a lot? Translation: I've never faced it. I don't want to know. Because knowing would mean admitting just how much you've burned. But here's the twist. This step isn't about guilt, it's about clarity. When you tally up every cent, from childhood gigs to your adult grind, you begin to see the absurdity. That 6 figures you made over a decade? Yeah, where is it now? Oh right, depreciated gadgets, status brunches, car payments, and late night Amazon binges. The authors ask you to excavate your financial fossils, old tax returns, forgotten paychecks, gift money, even illegal cash. Because only from financial truth can you build a life of freedom. Then comes the second blow. What do you have to show for it? Net worth, the brutal audit of your life. Assets minus liabilities. No filters, no edits, no likes. This isn't just accounting, this is a moral reckoning. Some people break down doing this exercise, not because they're broke, but because they realize how far they've drifted from their values. Others, they get angry, not at the numbers, but at how blindly they trusted a system that exploits their ignorance. And yet others discover something beautiful. A divorced woman at a seminar who once saw herself as just a housewife learned she'd earned over $50,000 in odd jobs. That truth unlocked her self-worth. She got a job paying double what she thought she could ask for. Why? Because data kills self-doubt. The authors tell you, no shame, no blame. But I'll tell you something they won't. You owe it to yourself to stop being complicit in your own exploitation. If you don't know what you've earned or where it's gone, you're not free. You're financially amnesiac. You're living on autopilot and praying that one day, magically, you'll feel secure. Spoiler, you won't. Because security doesn't come from income. It comes from consciousness. This entire system, jobs, salaries, consumption, burnout, is a smoke and mirrors game. You don't win it by playing better. You win by seeing through it. You've been playing Monopoly with real money, thinking the banker was your friend. It's time to wake up. And it starts here. Not with hustle, not with passive income fantasies, but with a reckoning, a spreadsheet, a pen, and a willingness to stop bullshitting yourself. Key takeaway. You are not your paycheck. You are not your debt. You are the sum of choices you've made about your life energy, and you can make better ones starting today. Facing your past isn't a punishment, it's liberation. Favorite quote, no shame, no blame. It's not just a mantra, it's a battering ram to destroy the guilt chains keeping you stuck. Trading life for paychecks. You ever notice how people treat their time like it's infinite, but their money like it's oxygen? You'll scroll TikTok for 3 hours straight, binge 7 episodes of some trash show you forgot the name of, then whine about being too busy to go for a walk, call your mom, or start that side hustle you said you'd start last New Year's, but spend an extra $12 at Starbucks and suddenly you're calling it a splurge. Newsflash, you can always get more money, you cannot get more life, and yet every morning you walk into a job like a willing hostage. You sell 8 hours of your most precious asset, your time, for a paycheck that barely buys back your peace. Not because you're stupid, because you've been trained to equate money with safety, status, and identity. You're not buying things, you're buying permission to feel okay for a few minutes. The authors crack open the delusion with one sentence that should rattle you to your bones. Money is something you trade your life energy for. Every dollar you earn isn't just income, it's a chunk of your life you'll never get back. So here's the question that should be branded onto your frontal lobe. What are you trading your life for? No, seriously. How much of your time goes to commuting, decompressing, job-related stress, or buying stuff to cope with the work that's making you miserable? You think your hourly wage is $30? Cute. Let's actually break it down like the book demands. You wake up, spend an hour getting ready. 45-minute commute. 10-hour shift with a 30-minute lunch break that barely feels like a pause. Another 45 minutes home. Then 2 hours decompressing with a drink and some DoorDash you convinced yourself you earned. Don't forget the car payment, fuel, office wardrobe, LinkedIn approved shoes, therapy sessions, and that extra coffee you need just to function. Now subtract all that time and cost from your so-called salary. And guess what? You're not making $30 an hour. You're making $9, maybe less. That's your real wage. And it's pathetic. You're selling your soul at a discount. And before you say, well, that's just how life works, take a second and ask who gave you that idea. Spoiler, it wasn't you. It was a culture that's designed to keep you docile, distracted, and always consuming. The authors have a name for what you're burning: life energy. You're not just clocking in, you're bleeding out your potential. And all for what? The privilege of chasing more crap that keeps you anesthetized? This book dares you to grab a calculator and do the unthinkable. Measure your real hourly wage. Break your work life into hours you spend because of your job, not just at it. Then ask, if I actually had to pay that time back, would I still buy this lifestyle? But the truth is even more offensive than that. You don't even know where your money is going because you're not tracking it. You don't want to. Why? Because tracking would expose the lie. You want to feel like you're in control, but control without data is just denial in a tuxedo. So here's your next unforgiving assignment. Track every single cent. No guesstimating. No, I think it was around $50. No, I'll start Monday. You track your calories when you're trying to lose weight, don't you? You track your steps on a Fitbit because you want to be healthy, right? Then why the hell don't you track your money, the literal representation of your life? Because you're scared. Because once you see how much you waste on things that don't matter, you'll have to face the reality that your job is funding your avoidance. Dominguez, the late co-author, used to do this bit in his financial seminars where he'd pull out a $100 bill, wave it in front of the audience, and threaten to burn it. People would gasp, panic, visibly freak out. You know why? Because deep down we all know that money is sacred, not for what it is, but for what it costs. Our finite existence. Burning that bill felt like setting fire to a part of someone's life. This isn't about spreadsheets. It's not about minimalism or budgeting. It's about respect for the hours you'll never get back. You track every cent, not because it's cute or fun, but because every untracked dollar is a piece of your existence vanishing into smoke. But here's the kicker. This level of tracking, this brutal honesty, it's actually a spiritual practice. Yeah, I said it. Forget your overpriced crystals and half-assed mindfulness apps. You want to really wake up? Track your money, watch it move, see where it leaks. Witness what you're willing to trade your life for. This isn't bean counting, this is meditation with teeth. And guess what? The resistance you feel to doing this, that's not laziness. That's your ego fighting for its own illusion. It wants you to believe you're doing okay, that you deserve a treat, that this is normal. No, this is mass hypnosis, and the only cure is ruthless clarity. You do this step and things start to shift. You stop buying shit you don't need. You stop tolerating jobs that insult your intelligence. You stop measuring success by salary and start measuring it by freedom. The practice is simple. The impact is nuclear. Track your real wage. Track your spending. No shame, no judgment, just awareness. And from awareness comes power. Because until you know what you're trading, you're not living. You're bartering your one wild and precious life for paper and calling it making a living. Wake up. Key takeaway. Money is not a goal. It's a measuring stick for your life energy. If you don't know how much you're selling your life for or what you're buying with it, you're not free. You're just employed. Favorite quote, money is something you trade your life energy for. You can't unknow that now. So the question is, what are you buying? The fulfillment filter. You think you're broke because you don't earn enough. But what if I told you your income is not the problem? Your ignorance is. You don't have a money problem. You have a leakage problem. And not the kind that shows up on a plumbing bill. The kind that silently bleeds out your future while you're too distracted to notice. Here's a fact no one wants to face. Most of what you spend money on brings you zero joy, zero fulfillment, and zero alignment with your values. But hey, that iced coffee was cute, right? We live in a world that glorifies budgets but avoids introspection. People spend more time picking Netflix shows than they do analyzing where their money went last month. They feel productive color coding expense categories in an app. then turn around and impulse buy a third air fryer because it was on sale. This step in the book is the one where the mirror doesn't lie. And it isn't just a budget, it's a forensic crime scene report of your financial self-sabotage. Here's how it works. After tracking every penny like a detective with a vengeance, you now line it all up in a monthly tabulation. Each expense goes in a category you define, not what a financial app tells you is normal. Forget transportation and miscellaneous. What about coping mechanisms disguised as self-care or crap I bought to impress people I secretly hate? Because here's the ugly truth. Until you name your expenses with honesty, they'll keep owning you. Then comes the translation, the real gut punch. Every dollar is converted into hours of life energy. Suddenly, that $1,000 rent payment isn't a number on a spreadsheet. It's 100 hours of your one wild and precious life. That $300 bar tab, that's a full week of your existence gone, so Chad could buy shots and scream into the void. You thought the budget would be restrictive? No. What's restrictive is giving away your future because you're too scared to examine your past. The authors aren't playing around here. They show you how to balance every dollar in, every dollar out, every dime you should have, and every dime that's missing. Why? Because vague goals lead to vague lives. If you're always trying to save more, guess what you'll never do? But the real power isn't in the math, it's in the awareness. People like Rosemary from the book didn't just see dollars and cents, she saw values. She saw that she spent more on aesthetics and personal growth than anything else. Not because she's wasteful, but because beauty and evolution mattered to her. That kind of insight, that's how you build a life that looks good from the inside out. Other stories hit harder. A woman who once hoarded clothes like armor against emotional emptiness discovered through tabulation that her spending was just trauma in disguise. She didn't need a new outfit, she needed self-respect, and when she got it, the shopping stopped. This isn't minimalism, this is consciousness. You're not supposed to spend less to be virtuous, you're supposed to spend better to be free. The monthly tabulation becomes your ritual, not a punishment. A practice, like yoga for your wallet, like journaling with a calculator. Each month you ask yourself, did this give me value? Did this match my purpose? Would I still buy this if I didn't have to work for money? Those questions aren't just financial, they're philosophical. They gut check your life. And when the answers don't line up, you change. This is where the transformation becomes visible. Not when you cut expenses, but when you stop lying to yourself about what matters. You'll notice something wild once you start. The act of tracking, of converting, of confronting, it changes your spending automatically. Not because you set some budget cap, but because consciousness is the ultimate constraint. No one wants to waste life energy on a third phone charger. No one feels fulfilled by their sixth treat yourself target run. But no one tells you that, because society profits when you stay asleep. Here's what makes this part of the process different from every budget you've ever abandoned. You're not trying to restrict behavior. You're revealing intention. You're getting closer to the truth of who you are by following the money. And when you start asking better questions about what you buy, you start asking better questions about why you're even here. And that, right there, is what the budgeting gurus will never tell you. That money is not just a financial tool, it's a mirror, and most people are too terrified to look in it, but you're here now. And once you see where your life is leaking, you can finally start plugging the holes, or you can keep sipping lattes while your future circles the drain. Your choice. Key takeaway. Your problem isn't that you don't make enough money, it's that you don't know where it's going, or why. Once you see every dollar as hours of your life, the truth hits hard. You've been trading freedom for convenience and calling it normal. Favorite quote, you are in the business of maximizing the return you get in happiness for every hour of life energy spent. Now act like it. The enough revolution. You want to know why you're miserable? Because you've been trained to chase more like it's a moral duty. You've been brainwashed to believe that enough is for quitters, that contentment is laziness, and that slowing down means you're falling behind. Congratulations. You're on the treadmill of perpetual dissatisfaction, and it's running on your life. You've been conned into thinking that joy is a commodity, and purpose has a price tag. That the next purchase, next raise, next milestone will finally scratch the existential itch you refuse to look directly in the eye. You don't need therapy. You need to ask better damn questions. What if fulfillment wasn't buried in the future? What if happiness was a skill, not a salary? What if you've had enough this whole time, but society just taught you to ignore the feeling? This part of the book isn't asking you to budget. It's asking you to wake the hell up. The authors take a flamethrower to the American dream and expose it for what it is, a marketing campaign with a side of existential despair. They open with the question everyone's too scared to ask out loud. What makes you come alive? If your honest answer is a notification ding, we've got problems. They bring in Mary Oliver, Howard Furman, even Ashley Brilliant's cartoon wisdom to make one thing painfully clear. We've outsourced our definition of happiness to systems that profit from our emptiness. We were never taught how to be happy. We were taught how to be productive. We were taught how to impress, accumulate, and perform. But joy, fulfillment, that's extra credit, and no one left you a syllabus, so the authors break it down. Fulfillment isn't that dopamine hit from a package arriving on your doorstep. That's a cheap thrill. Real joy is in building a life that feels right on the inside, even if it doesn't look impressive on Instagram. They introduce the 3 questions. And no, they're not soft self-help fluff. They're tactical weapons. You ask them every month about every dollar you spend. 1. Did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to the life energy I spent? 2. Is this expenditure in alignment with my values and life purpose? 3. How would this change if I didn't have to work for money? That 3rd one? It's a grenade. Pull the pin and everything you think you know about success explodes. Because when you ask that last question seriously, you realize just how many of your purchases are nothing more than consolation prizes for a life you hate. You don't spend $150 on Friday night drinks because you're social. You do it because you need to feel alive after being emotionally numb all week. You don't buy another gadget because it adds value. You do it because you've forgotten what value even feels like without a receipt. But the point of these questions isn't to guilt you, it's to expose the disconnect. You're not bad at money, you're just deeply out of alignment with your own damn soul. One of the most devastating truths in the book is this. Most of your spending isn't about desire, it's about distraction. And once you notice the pattern, you can't unsee it. The authors give examples of people who use this method to rebuild their lives, not just their finances. A woman used to fight with her husband over spending. Now they ask these questions together. No more blame, just truth. Another person realized their entire wardrobe was a performance for a job they didn't even like. So they quit, sold the suits, and started living like the human they were before LinkedIn took over their personality. Then there's the concept of gazing as pins, the stuff you irrationally obsess over. For some, it's books. For others, shoes. For me, maybe it's validation wrapped in 1080p video gear. Whatever it is, the moment you identify it, you start reclaiming your agency. And slowly, something changes. Your spending drops, not because you're trying, but because you start aligning. You're not budgeting. You're waking up, you're not hustling harder, you're finally getting honest about what you actually value. And here's the radical truth. Most people don't need more money. They need less bullshit. They need less pretending, less overcompensating, less clutter, physical and emotional. You don't need a raise, you need a reason. The book says you can define your own enough, but only if you stop outsourcing your definition of success. Forget millionaire mindset. That's just another hustle. What you need is a compass, and the 3 questions are your magnetic north. Because once you know what enough feels like, you're unshackled. You're no longer hustling to prove your worth. You're no longer spending to escape a life you didn't choose. You're no longer lying to yourself that a better phone will fix a broken purpose. You stop chasing and start choosing, and that, finally, is freedom. Key takeaway. You'll never feel free until you define enough on your own terms. The 3 questions aren't just about money, they're about meaning. Once you realign your spending with your values, you start living instead of compensating. Favorite quote, this is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. If your spending isn't serving that kind of purpose, maybe it's time to stop pretending it's worth the price. Burn the map, build the exit. You don't need a budget. You need a damn blueprint for escape. Every finance guru loves to trap you in this mental cage called a budget, but budgeting is just rearranging the furniture on the Titanic. It's still sinking. You're just arguing about how to fold the napkins. Want real freedom? Then it's time to burn the budget and build a fucking bridge out of the job you hate. Here's where this book stops playing and starts delivering. You've done the tabulations, you've tracked the life energy, you've asked the brutal questions. Now it's time to make your freedom visible. Literally, you plot it on a wall with a chart. Yeah, it's not sexy, but it's revolutionary. Each month, you track 2 lines, your total monthly expenses and your monthly investment income. And you watch those lines until one glorious day when your investment income crosses over your expenses. That's the crossover point. That's the moment your job stops owning you. It's not a dream, it's math. You draw the damn graph and watch as freedom stops being abstract and starts becoming measurable. And that visual, that's motivation like you've never felt before. Because now you see the finish line. But you don't get there just by hoping. You get there by minimizing expenses. Not in some sad, deprived way, but with surgical intelligence. The book doesn't say, spend less to suffer. It says spend less to own your time again. You stop playing financial whack-a-mole and start asking, do I even want to pay for this life? Because every unnecessary expense is a chain tied to the desk you keep praying to escape. The book's advice isn't about giving up lattes. It's about giving up your financial Stockholm syndrome. There's a reason you can't breathe when you think about money. It's because every dollar is coded with expectation and performance and guilt. So you strip it down. You kill the status games, you get real about what actually adds value and stop pretending your lifestyle creep is growth. It's not. It's economic rot. Then comes the unspoken half. Income. You think because you hate your job, you're supposed to settle for peanuts. No, you hate it, so you better make every hour count. The authors don't tell you to quit yet. They tell you to maximize your damn income while keeping your values and your sanity intact. Because you're not working for a raise, you're working for an exit strategy. They use stories like Nina, who went from hotel maid to executive director by valuing her life energy, and Larry, who walked into work like he was bulletproof because he knew financial independence wasn't a fantasy anymore. These people didn't manifest their freedom. They earned it by changing their relationship to time, money, and meaning. Then you get the mechanics. You figure out how much capital you need using one simple equation. Your monthly expenses divided by the 4% rule. If you spend $3,000 a month, you need $900,000 saved and invested. Boom, freedom math. Don't get caught up in what kind of investments. The book tells you stocks, bonds, real estate, values, aligned funds, even side hustles if that fits your vibe. The point isn't to get rich, it's to get free. You don't need to day trade crypto to escape your 9 to 5. You need consistency, compound interest, and a complete refusal to keep living by someone else's timeline. And yes, you'll hit walls. The crossover jitters are real. Some people freeze up when they realize their time is finally theirs. It's terrifying to be free if your entire identity was built around being a good little earner. But that's not a reason to stay trapped. It's a call to learn what you actually want from life, and then live that. The authors give you the final tools. Build your capital. Keep a cushion. Add a cache of extra money for emergencies, replacements, and peace of mind. Not because you need to control every outcome, but because you're done outsourcing your life to chaos and reaction. And when you hit your number, when the graph proves you're done, you're not retired. You're unleashed. You start creating, giving back, exploring, reading, building, parenting, traveling, choosing. The whole point is that now your work becomes voluntary, your projects become love letters to your own purpose. You've stopped making a dying and started making a life, because freedom is not about the money, it's about the choices the money makes possible. Key takeaway: financial independence is not reserved for millionaires. It's for anyone willing to take responsibility for their choices, their spending, and their earning. The budget is dead, the wall chart lives, and your exit is waiting. Favorite quote: money isn't something that happens to you. It's something you include in your life in a purposeful way. Now get off autopilot and start designing. Conclusion, you made it. And if you've actually listened, like really listened, you're probably pissed off. Good, because that means the spell is breaking. See, this book, it's not some financial advice. It's a rebellion manual disguised as a money guide. It's a toolkit for ripping the puppet strings out of your spine and building a life you don't need a vacation from. Your money or your life doesn't give you magic tricks, get-rich-quick schemes, or toxic hustle culture mantras. It gives you something way more dangerous, clarity. It hands you a mirror, a spreadsheet, a calculator, and then dares you to stop bullshitting yourself. Dares you to stop saying someday. Dares you to stop living like your life is a layaway plan. You've been sold a lie that you need more, need faster, need newer. But what you really needed was to unplug from the matrix and ask better questions. What am I trading my life for? What actually makes me feel alive? And when the hell did I decide that burnout was a badge of honor? Now you've got the answers. You've got the tools. You've got the truth. So now what? You either go back to sleep, or you burn the script they handed you and start writing your own. If you're serious, like actually serious about reclaiming your time, your peace, your autonomy, don't just let this video be the end of it. Go grab the book, physically, read it, scribble in the margins, tattoo the damn charts to your fridge if you have to, because awareness without action is just spiritual procrastination. You don't need another motivational video, you need a blueprint, and this book is it. Get the book, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki and Joe Dominguez. If you're looking for permission, here it is. Buy it, read it, live it. Your boss isn't going to set you free. Your government's not going to save you. This question mark, this is you versus the old you. And now you know too much to pretend otherwise. If this hit home, smash that subscribe button like it owes you 10 years of your life back. Drop a comment below and tell me, what are you doing with your one wild and precious life? Because the clock's ticking and money's not the thing you're losing. Your life is.